What's going on, y'all? Your boy Darius the Great here back again for the video, and as promised, I am here with my review for Aquaman 2, Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom, the final installment of the DCEU. Because next year, right, DC's taking a year off, and then 2025 we're jumping into Superman Legacy, the start of the DCU, the new James Gunn, cinematic universe over there at DC. But this was our swan song to the DCEU. This was our goodbye to 10 years of mediocrity. And it continued that tradition. It really did. Now, this is going to be a non-spoiler review. I don't think there's really much there's not much of importance in this movie to really spoil anyway. So, let's jump to this thing. I saw this on Friday, right? I really wasn't planning on watching it at all, but then when I saw all the bad reviews coming out, I was just like, I gotta watch this myself and give my own opinion of it, man. I gotta see if it's truly as bad as people said, right? I remember months ago, we had all sorts of rumors and reports about, poor test screenings, bad test screenings. People were walking out. It was a first, something that doesn't ever happen at test screenings. Audiences walking out, rumors that David Zaslav, Warner Brothers, they were like, this movie is awful. Let's just wipe our hands of it. Let's get it out. Let's be done with it, which is why they released it in such close proximity to Wonka, right? Which is another one of their, properties. It's a Warner Bros. Movie. And the idea being that it could cannibalize, Aquaman 2. More people are going to see Wonka than there are going to see Aquaman 2. That was a thought, right? That was a theory, let's say. And I gotta say, is this movie as bad as people say? It's not good. It's Aquaman 2 is a very stupid movie. Right? It's a stupid movie. Now, keep in mind, this is the sequel to the $1 billion, I'm going to say it again, $1 billion movie Aquaman 1 back in 2018, right? And just a quick synopsis, I guess, if you don't know what it's about, Aquaman this time around has a son with Mira, right? We'll get to Mira in a second. He has a son, and now he's trying to balance, being a king of Atlantis and being a father. Meanwhile, you have Black Manta, played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, I believe is his full name, right? Who played Black Manta in the first movie. He was kind of a side villain, but now he's center stage. He's the main villain this time, right? It's all about Black Manta now, and he's still out for revenge for Aquaman killing his dad in that submarine in, the opening of the first movie. And he has this trident with this evil presence in it, this former Atlantean king, or he was a king of a different Atlantean nation or whatever. And it's possessing him, it's influencing him in his decisions, and he's just on a rampage to try and kill Aquaman. That is the story of this movie. Also, of course, as you see on the poster there, Aquaman has to team up with his brother Orm, the Ocean Master, who was the main villain of the first movie, right? It's a buddy cop sort of dynamic with them, kind of Thor and Loki-esque, right? And I have to tell you, Patrick Wilson, plays Orm, is, without a shadow of doubt, the highlight of this movie. He is probably the most redeeming thing about this movie, because without him, this movie would be absolutely nothing. Let's try and get to the positives, right? Let's try and stick to positives just for a moment. The positives, of course, being Orm, right? He's great. Patrick Wilson, awesome. It's a shame he's kind of wasted in this role. I thought he was fantastic in the first movie, because Ocean Master is one of my favorite DC villains, right? And I thought he played him to perfection. He had potential to be the new DC, to be the DC's equivalent of Loki in the MCU, right? But unfortunately, he had this movie to deal with too, and it's just kind of he was the driving force behind anything that was entertaining in this movie. And to an extent as well, his chemistry with Jason Momoa, his, the brothers bouncing back and forth off of each other. I thought that stuff was great, it was, again, very Thor and Loki-esque, but with a different dynamic, because Thor and Loki are both of the same world. They talk the same and all that other stuff, but Jason Momoa, Arthur Curry, obviously, different from Orm. He doesn't talk like him. He has a different culture that he's from and everything. So it makes a great buddy cop dynamic. That's kind of the extent of the positives, man. I'll be honest with you. I mean, yeah, that's the extent of the positives. The rest of this movie is just stupid. The dialogue, stupid, right? Like, I feel like an AI wrote this dialogue, but even saying that, I feel like I have done some experiments with like ChatGPT and other AI services. I feel like sometimes I've gotten better dialogue than what we had in this movie, especially coming from Black Mana. More on Black Mana in a minute, but the dialogue is just, it's not good. It's very just, it's cliche, it's campy. It's just, I can't believe someone actually wrote this. The action is just, it's boring, right? Like, you think back to the first movie, I thought the action was like, it was very inventive, and it's underwater, you know, it's epic battles and stuff, and just seeing the superpowers under the water, is all very cool. And then they kind of just do the same stuff here, and it's not as effective. Like, there's the very first big action sequence underwater with Aquaman and like the armies and stuff. I was just sort of sitting back. I was just like this. I was like I wasn't engaged. I wasn't feeling it. I was just like, it's a big action sequence, and yet I feel nothing. Like, it does nothing for me. None of the action scenes do anything for me, right? And not that, you know, a movie, when it comes to superhero genre, right, it can be so easy to fall into a generic formula. That's why, like, you have to do stuff that's new and different each time out, or else you're gonna feel super generic. That's what I feel like this movie is. It's just kind of a generic superhero movie. That's how I felt about Shazam 2, right? It very much just felt generic, cut and paste. It's just like, this movie, I feel like they didn't do anything new. It didn't really feel like there was a specific director of this. Like, I didn't feel James Wan in this, except for like, there's like one scene with Black Mana in like, he's like in the darkness and then his red eyes light up. I'm like, okay, that's kind of James Wan-esque, but like, it didn't feel like James Wan directed this movie. It felt like it had no director. It felt like it had an AI director or like a bunch of executives trying to direct this thing, because it's just like, it was so by the numbers, man. Aquaman in this movie, Jason Momoa, look, I love Jason Momoa. He's a very entertaining dude. You know, he, like, anytime you see him, he has a presence, right? I thought he was great in the first movie as Aquaman. And I even enjoyed him in, like, the Joss Whedon Justice League, and even the Snyder cut as well, even though I hardly remember what happened in that movie. This movie, however, is a different thing. It's a different beast entirely, because in this movie, Jason Momoa is not playing Arthur Curry, Aquaman, like he was in the first movie. In this movie, he is playing Jason Momoa. Like, no doubt about it. He is playing Jason Momoa. He's not Aquaman. Any hint, any shred of Aquaman is gone. Right? Like, this is like a little bit of a spoiler, I guess, right? But who cares? I doubt you're gonna care. You might remember in the last movie, it ended off, right? And it's like, all right, he's the king of Atlantis. He's taken this responsibility to heart. He is Aquaman, finally, right? You get to the beginning of this movie, and he's just like, he doesn't care about his kingly duties. He's like slacking off, you know, during important meetings with other kingdoms and stuff. He's just sort of sitting there. He's just like, yeah, sure. Like, he took such a large step back from the ending of the last movie. Like, my main problem with him in Justice League, both versions of Justice League, was the whole like, yeah, dude, bro, Jason Momoa, wow, yeah. I'm just like, that. He's not Aquaman. And then the Aquaman movie took that, had him go through a journey to finally become Aquaman, and then this movie immediately wiped that journey away, acting like it didn't happen. And I was just like, the entire movie, he's just Jason Momoa. He's doing, whoa, yeah, all right, yeah. Like, I'm just like, oh my god, it was too much. It was overbearing, right? It was kind of like Thor: Love and Thunder, how like Thor was just overbearing with his jokey comedicness. But even then, at least I still kind of felt like he was Thor. I didn't feel like Arthur was Aquaman. I didn't feel like Jason Momoa was Aquaman at all in this movie, man. Yeah, it really felt like he was just ready to play Lobo. Black Manta, who is the main villain this time around in the movie, right? He is historically Aquaman's greatest enemy, right? He's like, the Joker to Batman and Lex Luthor to Superman, And they completely neuter his character in this by removing his agency. What I mean by that is his main thing, Black Manta's main thing has always been how much he hates Aquaman for killing his dad, right? It's all about revenge. And in this movie, they decide to give him this Sauron-esque, like the One Ring, thing with the trident where, like, it's not just influencing him. It becomes a point where, like, the dead, I forget what the name of the king is, Korvac or something? Sauron, Atlantean Sauron, because that's what he looks like. It comes to a point where, like, he fully starts just taking over him. And I'm just like, Black Manta is not a character that needs to be taken over, that needs some extra BS for his revenge story. Like, it just didn't make any sense. I'm just sitting here, I'm like, you're trying to make him feel like a threat, but he doesn't feel like a threat. None of this actually feels personal. He just feels like generic supervillain of the week. And it's not helped by the dialogue that they give him, where he's just like, it's very one-note supervillain stuff. Oh yeah, I'm gonna kill Aquaman. I'm gonna ruin his life. I'm gonna take out his life. I'm just like, it's so uninspired. I feel like, I told this to a friend, I feel like Black Manta in this movie should have been akin to Killmonger in Black Panther, right? Dude has a mission. He is out to fulfill said mission. He gets there. He wrecks shit. He takes over. Or, like, in the case, there's a story in the comics where, like, it was a big thing where, like, Aquaman gets his hand cut off, right? It's like a big thing. Like, even in the old Justice League cartoon, he doesn't have a hand. He has like the harpoon hand because it got cut off. Like, Black Manta should have shown up and, like, to show that he was on business, cut Jason Momoa's hand off in front of his entire family, like, to show that he means business, to show that he ain't playing around. Like, he should have showed up, immediately been a threat, but he's not ever really a threat. He's a Saturday morning cartoon villain, because guess what his way of getting revenge is, and it's tied to the thing controlling him. It's causing global warming. They have Black Manta in this movie to cause global warming, or to accelerate global warming. And I'm just like, this is like the type of stuff that people made fun of Aquaman for. What are you going to do? What are you going to fight? Global warming? Like, oh my God. Such a waste of Yaya's talents once again. I can't believe in the movie where he's supposed to be the main bad guy, they waste him again. Just turn him into a cookie cutter bad guy. Hopefully things go better for him at Marvel. I know he's playing Wonder Man, which isn't really a role I think suits him and suits his strengths, but we'll see. Even if we don't even know if that's even still going through. That might be canceled, who knows. But yeah, just Black Manta was not it in this movie. And if you're like me and you don't like Amber Heard, right, you're probably wondering how much of Amber Heard is in this movie, right? Because there was always the talks after the whole Johnny Depp thing that they were going to cut her out of the movie as much as they could. And they did that. You could definitely tell they tried to cut her out as much as possible, but she's still in it a hefty amount because she is, the mom of Arthur's son, right? So, like, she has to be there. She always shows up there to kind of save the day. And just to remind you that, yep, this kid still has a mom. Even though, again, a little spoiler here, you could tell that they weren't paying attention, or that they thought they were going to cut her out completely or something, because there's a point where Arthur is talking to his dad, Boba Fett. He's talking to him, and, they're toasting, to, like, here's to being single fathers or something like that. Here's to single parents. And I'm just like, Mira is still a thing. Matter of fact, in the scene before this, you literally showed her co-parenting with you. So what are you talking about? So it was a weird thing. But really, like, she has like 10, 11 lines in this movie. So if you have a problem with her, rest assured, she's not really a factor like that at all. Overall, this movie it's a stupid movie. It's a movie that, to end the DCEU on, it's a damn shame. It's going out with a whimper. This movie was not good. I'd give it, like, I don't know, like a 5 out of 10. Jeez, man, what a hey, man. I'm looking forward to seeing Jason Momoa as Lobo in the DCU because we all know that's happening. That's going to happen, right? So anyway, there's my review of Aquaman 2, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. All right, let me know in the comments what you thought of the movie if you did see it, or if you haven't seen it. Will you go see it? Do you care? What do you think of the DCEU as a whole? I might do a video. Now that I think about it, I might do a video ranking the DCEU now that it's done. So keep a watch out for that. Do me a favor though, hit that subscribe button, man. I'm on the road to 400 subscribers. I can't get there without you. So hit that subscribe button, man. Hit the notification bell so you know every time I upload a new video. Also, like the video. Run up those likes, man. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.